So, hey everybody, it's Andrew again for episode 3 in the true story of how I become the All American Boy. I think of it as a movie all the time, to tell you the truth. Okay, so episode 3, I told you in episode 2, as I recall, about my encounter with the Tet Offensive, and then a little while later, my encounter with Colonel Roscoff, life-changing times. And I think I shared with you that I became, an honest goodness, helicopter repair parts specialist. Okay, so the way that worked is that there were maintenance schedules for all the helicopters. For example, I mentioned that tail rotors had to be replaced every 25 hours. And that's not a very long time to fly a helicopter. And the main rotor blades needed to be replaced from time to time. And the tail rotor blades and the O-rings needed to be changed all the time. And the transmissions. And anyhow, there was a million things to go wrong in the helicopter. And every time a helicopter needed a repair part, it was supposed to be reported to the supply shack, and at the supply shack, guys like me would identify the military part number of that part and type it into an IBM punch card, and then that punch card would be physically delivered to the regional supply center. In my case, the regional supply center was in Cameron Bay. And from there, they would use that IBM punch card to fill the order and send the parts back to me. Well, in theory, it works perfectly. In theory, it's just ideal because you have a very accurate record of the parts that the helicopter actually does need. And if they're getting shot up out there in operations, and you need to replace the collets or the drive servos or any number of other things, you had a physical record of the parts that you needed, and it was a cool system. Those punch cards were carried up to Cameron Bay and fit into, as I recall, it was an IBM System 36 that was the equivalent of a mainframe. It was one of the most powerful computers in service. And the difficulty was that the parts that were wearing out quickly, like the tail rotor hubs, quickly became unobtainable. And we would routinely have a fair number of helicopters sitting idle, waiting for parts. And I think they call that situation EDP, End Date Line Protocol. Well, in that effort to keep the helicopters flying,